Well, hello to everyone out there. Hirsch Saha here, reporting from Auckland, New Zealand. Today is the 16th of May, 2024, and yes, for today's talk video topic, being completely safe online. I know that might seem like a very, cliche topic, and it's certainly one that, we discuss quite a lot. And it's also one that you see written about a lot. People are always giving their advice about it. People are always, discussing it and all that. It still makes it no less important. It is a very, very important topic and one that we really all need to learn about, whether we're in school or not, whether we're young or old, whether we're experienced with the internet or not. And there's that saying that I've heard: "What's the most dangerous place uh, in the world?" Or where is the most dangerous place in the world? Unfortunately, it's the internet. It really is, and unfortunately, it's one of the most accessible places. So, yeah, trying to be completely safe online. I think it also starts with just how often you use your phone, your mobile phone. It's amazing what we can do on our mobile phones today, isn't it? We can do virtually everything, whether it's work or communicate or take online videos. Want to be YouTuber, trying really hard to make something of him or herself, for example, or what else is there? Shop, buy things, plan things, do calculations, do accounting, study, research. The list goes on and on. Plan our day and all that. And basically, the whole, the IT model is sort of set up in a way that it assumes that we have immense discipline. And of course, 99% of us, including myself, I admit, don't have that discipline. The discipline that when you're with other people to actually put your phone away and just ignore if you hear it beeping, unless it's an emergency, like it's constantly ringing, you shouldn't attend to it. So that's what the whole IT model was for. But unfortunately, it hasn't quite worked out like that. Not all of us have that discipline. And as I say, we're now slaves to the very devices that were supposed to free us. We're constantly looking at our mobile phones, just constantly 24/7, just even if we don't really have anything to do on it, just thinking, what is the next update or what's happened since I last looked at, say this social media page or this news page or my email or my text messages or money appearing in my bank account from sales of my business or whatever. So yes, I think it really starts off with just being very, very disciplined. I know it's much, much easier said than done, and I myself still have trouble, trying to adhere to that. But just, immense discipline. Only use your phone whenever you actually need to, when you really need to send a message or do something or check on something. That's when you should use your phone. Oh, another good pointer is that, use your phone when you would otherwise be doing nothing or just being bored, like, for example, waiting for the bus or even when on the bus. When you'd otherwise just be doing nothing, that's when you should use your phone and use it for things that really need doing, including, of course, things that are fun or recreational, like, reading the news or keeping up with friends or messaging those close to you. Those things are also important, even if they're not absolute musts or if they're not work. So, use your phone for only the things that really matter, work related or not work related, and really only use your phone when you would otherwise not really be doing anything, like, yeah, on the bus or waiting for the bus. So you actually save time rather than waste it, right? And of course, when you're with other people, when you're at work, when you're driving, that's when you should really put your phone away, unless it's an emergency. And as I say, we're really now having to work harder than before because we've got so many things to check on, and sometimes it feels like we're on call 24/7. Even those of us who only work 9 to 5 jobs, sometimes it feels like we're on call 24/7, and even worse that we're not even always paid for the overtime. Which is quite sad. So yeah, only use your phone when you really need to, and at times when you would otherwise not be doing anything. Really, when you're alone and you're just waiting for something or whatever, that's when you should use your phone. I've also tried to dumb things down, like I've only now got one social media account. I've closed the other ones. I only have one Google account, or so no, two Google accounts. One is a personal one and the other is work related. But I have no others. I've really only got one email account, my own email. Even my work email comes onto that as well, so it's all coming into one place. Just really strive to minimize the web pages or the websites, if you like, that you have to check all the time. I also have, the shortcuts to the main websites that I look at every day, right, going across the top of my screen in my web browser, or as apps, or as icons on my phone. So, yep, I know exactly what I need to check each and every day. Passwords, I try to sort of make it obviously passwords that are hard to guess, but I sort of have a group of passwords that I pick from. So, as they say, don't use the same password for every website. But I have a group of passwords so that if I forget the password for a certain website or I get it wrong, I just think, okay, what are the other passwords it could be? Because I tend to use, passwords from a group of passwords. And again, they're passwords that are hard to guess. So that's what I do there. And I do, of course, have the password saved into my phone and into my computer. But again, where you've got a barrier. So, it's hard for someone to easily get into your phone because they have to know your passcode, or they have to be able to, through scanning your face, get into it, or your thumbprint. And a similar thing with your computer. You need to know that passcode or the login, and then you've got access to everything else. So, you have that barrier there. The one thing I have passwords for, of course, but which are very complicated and which I actually remember and I don't write down anywhere, are passwords to my bank accounts. And again, with bank accounts, just trying to keep things as simple as possible, having as few bank accounts as I need. But those are the only passwords that are not written or saved anywhere. It's all up here and it's only pretty much up here. So, especially something like that to do with money. But I guess, so there's some advice on being safe online. Or I guess that was really advice, what I said in the last few minutes. That was really advice on sort of being a bit more disciplined, but also being safe online. Drawing on, especially like programs that have featured recently, for example, on Netflix, that movie doco called The Social Dilemma, I found very interesting. I know there's many like it and they keep coming out, but The Social Dilemma was very interesting and just sort of talking about, how much they've really, you know, how much social media has been used to really extract as much as possible from people, their behaviors, their likes, their dislikes, what it is they're really looking for, what they spend money on, and just even where they go and all that. So, try to be a bit wary of that. You obviously don't put so much online, and probably a bit too late for me now, but I'm always trying to keep more or less an eye on that. What is there online? I try to make sure that it's not anything that will, really come back and bite me at some stage. Hopefully not. But that's sort of what you do there. And especially like what that movie doco, The Social Dilemma, was portraying, and I'll never forget, it's something it said, or a saying in the movies, that remember, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And that's exactly the case with a lot of social media. We don't pay for it, but we pay. We might not be paying money for it or a subscription, but we pay in the form of our own information, our own privacy. And, all sorts of things have come out as a result of that, targeted ads, of course, doing whatever it can to basically, get us addicted and hooked onto the social media and to never stop scrolling through it and checking this and checking that. And it can be from something as even as minor as that. Some people might conclude, or as usual or now sort of every day as that is, to something as horrific as the presidential election in the United States of 2016, and the very, very unfortunate winning candidate who basically cheated his way to the top there, just like he's cheated his way virtually everywhere else in life. And using, Cambridge Analytica to, really infiltrate social media, and just doing absolutely whatever he could to make himself look better, to make his opponent look worse, and just absolutely every single thing he could under the sun to convince the American people that he was the right candidate and to vote for him. And geez, it might be 8 or so years ago, but it still takes a lot of our breath away, just thinking what happened and how in the polls it was the opponent who was far ahead of him, and then suddenly on the last day he just surged ahead, and we were just all left scratching our heads, and we just couldn't believe it. And don't, of course, I can say his name. I've said it before, but Trump, after he was elected in 2016, oh my God, people just couldn't believe it. I remember the two big things of that year were Trump and Brexit. And in fact, after Trump was elected, the immigration website for Canada actually broke down because so many Americans were looking at it, researching it, trying to find a way to immigrate to Canada. So many people looked at the website that the website itself actually broke down. And a similar thing, or the same thing, happened here in New Zealand with Trade Me. Trade Me is basically one of our biggest online marketplaces, pretty much the New Zealand equivalent of eBay. And so many people looked at Trade Me property, Trade Me real estate, because obviously they wanted to move to New Zealand and perhaps buy or rent property here so they could live here. And so many people looked at real estate on Trade Me that the website itself broke down. And this is from a very well respected and established and large company. Obviously, they'll have plenty of bandwidth available on their website at any one time, and they'll have all sorts of, safeguards or whatever you need to make sure that the website is at virtually 100% uptime. But to think so many people looked at it after Trump was elected that the website actually broke down. So yeah, so it's amazing what people can do now. As they say, even elections can now be bought. We thought that things were getting better in that area, but perhaps not. Perhaps we're even drifting further away than we were from true democracy or true fairness when it comes to those who govern us and being able to vote, and one person, one vote, if you like. So yeah, so the internet really is one of the most dangerous places on earth, if not the most dangerous. Try to really plan things. Only use your phone or the internet when you really have to, or not only when you really have to, but when you need to, when you're actually doing something that you need to do, for example, work or communicate with something or communicate with someone, or of course something even recreational like checking on, the news, reading the news, or talking to friends. You use the internet pretty much when you really should be, not just for the hell of it or for no real reason. Um, try to minimize your screen time and try to use it also at times when you would otherwise not be doing anything, like those examples I gave before, waiting for the bus or when on the bus, and obviously not when you're driving or at work or meeting other people close to you. You really don't want it to interfere with that time. And yeah, be really careful what you put online. One thing I haven't really mentioned is, especially with social media, things like likes and comments and liking pages, joining groups. Not saying that you can't do that, but just be a bit careful with that, because that's also where companies who really want your data can really try to catch you. Even with my Facebook, I used to post up so many things, but I've really stopped doing that in recent years. I'm just maintaining a pretty low profile there. So there's that discipline, and just keeping safe as well. And especially for the young ones amongst us, I really do worry about that. Things that are just so easily available online, which were absolutely very, very hard to acquire when I was growing up, and just you just can't help but think, young people, what they look up, what they see there, do the absolute best you can for the young ones, close to you, to really safeguard them from, what it is that the internet can bring. And yeah, I guess that's sort of what it comes down to, with being both disciplined and being safe with the internet. Trying to have your things on as few websites as possible. Perhaps have a group of passwords that you pick from when signing into websites. Like what I do, have keep your bank account logins up here. Just have maybe just one or two social media accounts, those sort of things. And hopefully for all of us, just try to be a bit smarter, a bit less absent minded, and just remember what's happening these days. And it's amazing what can really happen online, as we saw in 2016 with the presidential election. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. And on that note, oh my God, this year, this is May 2024 that I'm talking. By the time you see this video, it might be much later. But this year we've got Trump and Biden running for the U.S. presidential election, and I hope to God that Trump does not win again. I really, really hope he doesn't, but I guess time will tell. Maybe all of us can come together and do what we can to make sure that he doesn't. That would be awesome. Probably a good note to end this. So yeah, that's this talk video. Thank you once again for watching, and catch you later. Bye.